John, Cain, thank you for sitting down with me.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, man, you're the professional here, so you got all the hype behind you.
Yeah.
So like we were saying, you're 2 years now that you've been running your own practice here.
Yes.
And so what got you into physical rehab?
So I grew up in a pretty inactive, unhealthy household. Not always blatantly, but there was no focus on general fitness, health, or anything like that. And so
arm sweat going down. It's gonna be a cooker in here.
Coming up to the end of high school, I knew I wanted to do something health and fitness related, so I did one diploma in that area. Decided I didn't want to stay with just like that general fitness field, and I wanted to go more to that medical side. So luckily, where I was going to school, they offered this ability to just jump straight into the third year for their athletic therapy degree, and so I did that.
Simple
ran
as
with
that.
it.
You just kind of followed the channels.
Just followed it. Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, because like I look at physical rehab. I look. You guys are like the movement doctors, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's so crazy to think that you have to know the proper movements of everything. And then like we were saying with that post you had on your Instagram today, it's not necessarily, there's no kind of set there's no real like set path to stay with a good proper posture. So
totally.
What's that like working with people then when you see them in all walks of life with different kind of struggles, I guess, and different postures?
Well, I think the thing to realize is that everybody wants to put these black and white rules to how the body works, right? But we're not cars. It's not, this piece needs to be positioned exactly like this to work properly. And like, no, the human body is a lot more adaptable than that, and people don't seem to want to give it as much credit. And so, whereas a lot of people are putting a ton of stock in having textbook perfect posture and always being squared up to go and lift anything, we don't need to be quite so concerned about that, because as long as we're moving healthily, we square up when we need to square up. We don't spend too long of a period in one particular position. The body is going to be able to deal with that, and it's going to probably be healthier because it's just having a good variety of different ways that it likes to move and rest and sit. So
are you a lot of movement focused then? Just stay moving?
Yeah, absolutely.
Object in motion stays in motion, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's because like I've got terrible shoulders, and I was told it's because I had pneumonia and bronchitis as a child, and my chest caved in to protect my vital organs. Later in life, they were slipping out like friggin' hot butter.
And that totally could be the case. Like that might be a contribution at the very least. But you want to do what you can to correct that in terms of getting your function back and getting your pain-free ability to move back, right?
But for me, it's a lot of, I got to focus on the movement itself when I do, and when I'm working with my shoulders, I'm very conscious. Yeah. But when I'm not, it's again, I feel like I've gotten to a point where I don't have to be dialed in the entire time.
Exactly. At the end of the day, like if your shoulders are relatively rolled forward, that's not a reason for you to be in pain. Yeah. People don't have textbook perfect posture, right?
You don't see it.
No.
But people that do, I find they stand out. Like when you see someone walking around with their shoulders back, their chest out, I mean, like they kind of demand that attention.
Yeah. But guess what? They might be in pain still.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Like, how the hell do you hold that all day? Like, because I've done it for a couple. It's like, okay, and I gotta move. I gotta get out of this spot.
There's just way too many people who have perfect posture and have excruciating pain, and then the vice versa. You don't understand how the hell they're comfortable sitting or standing like that, but they feel just fine.
It's insane. So how do you diagnose people then? Do you is it case by case?
Case by case, see what hurts when they do whatever. Like, if you move this way, does it hurt? If you move that way, does it hurt? Narrow it down.
What's the weirdest one you've had? You've got to add some gnarly people with some C-spines or something, right?
Yeah, you know what? I'd say that the most interesting ones are kind of exactly what we're talking about. They're the people that are just so well trained when it comes to working out, when it comes to the gym. They're so focused on their technique and form that they don't even leave that gym perfect form when they go and pick up a pencil or go and lift something, a light object or anything like that.
Or go to sit down on the couch or something.
Yeah,
like that.
And they're always squared up. They're always doing their hip hinge, and because of that, even though when they're doing a deadlift, they can max out 300-400 pounds just fine without pain. But for some reason, they keep throwing out their backs when they round out their back to tie their shoe. It's like that. It's almost sometimes having to train people to have bad form again because they need to be comfortable doing that, right?
Well, it's almost like you're I'm sure you can correct me on this. Is it? It's almost the opposite. If you stay in that bad, well, like you said, it's like that quote, I should say. If the only bad posture is the one you're in long enough, and I guess I'm slowly picking it apart. Is it because you're gonna get stuck? Your muscles are not gonna get used in those other
kind of like that, yeah. And just the fact that you're not allowing the body to stay trained to be able to do anything else besides that, right?
Yeah. Ah, that's super interesting. Man. No wonder you stuck with this.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So you went straight from school and then you just opened it right up.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what else is going on then aside from the rehab? You got anything else firing off?
It's been a busy summer for me. I just finished up a season working with a lacrosse team local here. I work with the Senior B Wolves.
Oh, no way. My buddy actually, Lance, I know a couple people on that team.
Yeah, Lance.
Yeah, I think, is Cody Short still on the team?
He is, yeah.
Yeah, I played lacrosse with a bunch of those
Oh, did
guys.
you? Oh, you were a lacrosse player, eh?
My brother was.
Okay.
I played for a couple years, and because I had his last name, all the coaches thought I was going to,
I'm
like, no, I haven't picked up a stick since I was 10, guys. Like, I'm just doing this for fun. I played when I was like 14, but yeah.
Yeah, so I just finished up the season with them. Like it was our best year yet in the 3 years of existence. So
that's awesome.
That was a great time.
That's super cool you're with them. So those guys must be crazy to deal with because they're probably all over the place, right?
Yeah, and you know what? They're lacrosse players. They're all working men, so you got to kind of deal with the sport as well as the fact that they were just spending all day laboring at their jobs. So
so how does for those guys that aren't really professional then is it? Do you separate the movements for them? Is it like, hey, this is what you should be focused on when you're in that work environment versus this is what you should be focused on when you're in that sport environment? Or is it you gotta keep it all relatively
kind of got to keep it all relatively one because especially when it's not like we're talking a professional team here and it's the only thing that they have to think about. You gotta just realize, hey, there's only so much focus and attention that a certain individual is going to be able to put towards even when it comes to their health, put towards that conditioning side for themselves, right? So essentially you do what's going to be received and acceptable to them, right? Because if you start talking over anybody's head and start telling to do all these absurd things or training this many days per week or trying to even do this set of exercises every single morning, that's not going to fly for everybody. So you just gonna have to settle for what is going to be done rather than what is the perfect ideal thing to be done, right?
Yeah, no kidding. Well, that was one thing I always found with physical trainers, especially because I've had the bad shoulders, is they would always give you this massive laundry list, and it's like, hey man, I got a life to live too.
Yeah, totally.
I can't spend every hour thinking like, I got to do my exercise. I got to do my exercise. That being said, when I would do them, I mean, Christ, it would work perfectly, right? But it's the consistency was never there. Sure.
And I always joke that Nike's going to sue me for this one day, but I'm always like, you know what? Just do it doesn't work, right? Because
not always.
Because hardly ever, right?
How many
people who say that, like fitness trainers who tell their clients that, they're not considering anything else going on in that person's life, right? It's like, yeah, you can say anybody can make time if they want to make time, that they can arrange their schedule, that they can find a place to do this or to do that. But, once you actually do factor in their emotional state, their stress, anxiety, their work jobs, their kids, the ability to cook, right?
Well, it's easy to look at it from the outside, right?
Yeah,
exactly. We all have the same 24 hours in the day.
Why we don't all have the same 24 hours at the end of the day.
Theoretically, yeah, but no, like you said, I mean, you add in one variable of someone's life that's not accountable for yours, and you're like, oh shit, I didn't realize you spent 6 hours looking after your kid after school alone.
Exactly.
Let alone the first part of the day, right? So, no, that's we wouldn't even come to. See, I wouldn't even think of that as a physical therapist. Like, yeah, okay, if I can do this at my job, why can't you do it? Well,
exactly.
No, 'cause we're not in the same life.
Yeah, it's like I'm spending all day at my clinic. Yeah, I can. It's easy for me to think, you can stop and do exercises at any time. It's like, well, I'm here in my clinic or I'm here at the gym. I'm not in the kitchen in a sweaty environment, loud and noisy and cramped, or I'm not in
stressing out over
a labor
order,
site.
Right?
It's so easy to say you can just do it, you can make time, but you gotta actually understand where people are coming from in their lives in order to build a plan that's actually going to work for them.
So you kind of base the specific rehab needs around their lives?
Absolutely. You have to do what is going to be realistic for them, and you can push them and challenge them to add a little bit more here,
for sure,
find a little bit more time there, but if you try to do it all at once, you're not going to get any success.
Yeah, well, I had one trainer on and she always said like the first thing I tell people is just add more water. She's like, I don't even expect you to do the workouts. She's like, I give you the workouts, but I tell you like you're not going to do this.
Right.
If you do it, great, but just add more water for the first week. And it's like, yes, I think it's baby steps for sure.
Absolutely.
Well, because to change your environment or your routines or anything, I mean, that's massive. Yeah. That's something I learned coming back from Thailand. I was like, because I used to love flying, and now I hate it because I just can't be stuck in a tube for 10 hours going to China.
For sure.
And so I was like, no, this is the sacrifice you have to make to change the environment that you want to go back to or go to. And it's
absolutely
taking that mindset into something like physical rehab would be huge. It's like, okay, yeah, if you want to change your posture and fix your, the pain that you're in, you're going to have some drastic changes, but we can do this step at a time. There's no
baby steps when it comes to everything, right?
Yeah. Well, I see someone like me though. I don't like the baby steps. Yeah. I like to just go dive in.
And if you love diving in, great. I do get clients. They just want to go balls to the wall all the way right away, and it's like, great. You know what? We can get so much done.
You're gonna make my job easy. Yeah.
We're gonna see you for like a month, and then you're never gonna have to see you again. Great. Other people, they're gonna take a little bit more coaxing and time, and that's okay. That's what's gonna work for them. So
do you get people that like lie to you though? Like, oh yeah, I've been doing my exercises, and then you clearly see that they have not been doing them.
When I first started out, I would get that more, but as soon as I started, pointing out the fact that I know that it's hard to get to everything every day, realizing, it's not realistic for everybody to do every single day. Maybe it's okay if they miss a day and do every second or third, and just making the point that, hey, if you start missing days, don't worry. As long as you start them up again at any point, you don't have to feel bad about yourself. Then people are more honest because they don't feel like they're going to be in trouble when they come back to see me.
That was always the thing, right? Well, especially I had the surgery on my left shoulder. The laundry list. I don't even remember what it was. But I would always, I was terrible with my rehab, which it kind of worked in my favor because it's kept my shoulder a little bit tighter than usual.
Oh, yeah.
And I still have almost my full mobility, but I always felt so bad when I would go in there and they're like, so you've been working on it, right? And, oh, yeah. And then, they go to do the outside, like, no, you haven't.
Right.
And they would just get the Graston tool in there and start scraping away. And it's like, they're like, this is what you get for lying. You should have just said no. And we could have done a little bit easier.
Yeah. It's funny. It's like the more you scope people, like, I don't know, if anybody's taken a first year psychology class, at any point in their lives, they know, hey, negative feedback, it doesn't work. Yeah. But for some reason, everyone keeps using it.
It's that cycle, man.
Yeah. But by the time my clients have seen me for a session or two, they know that, hey, if they're honest with me and tell me I wasn't able to do my exercises because of this, that, or that I'm going to be like, okay, let's modify either your plan or see if we can find a trick or some sort of lifestyle change or time that's going to work for you.
Shit, we need more physical therapists like you, John. Like, this is music to my ears, man.
Thank you.
But, oh, Christ, that's awesome. Yeah, I think that approach, I think you're seeing that more approach, though, that custom, not so much custom, but just that diagnose specific to you. It's
and just kind of that mental side of it too, right? Like there's that big disconnection that we've been dealing with between physical and mental health in healthcare for years, and
I've been loving seeing that people are way more. It's such a fine line, though, right? How do you know? Because it's so you can't. There's no physical signs of mental health, right? So how do you know if someone's actually mentally injured or needs some improvement here, or they are dealing with something that's tough?
Yeah, and that's when you just have to talk to them like real people, right? Yeah. Don't treat them like a business transaction all through the treatment. I got my hands on them for about half an hour, and so I'm gonna start talking to them about whatever. I'm not just talking about muscles and ligaments the entire time, right? So they start to spill a lot, and then once they do,
well, it's a super intimate spot, right? I mean, they got, like you said, your hands are all over them.
For sure,
people are gonna open up.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to be a psychotherapist or anything. That's not my area at all. But if sometimes it becomes clear, hey, this person has a lot of anxiety and stress and depression that they deal with. Let's just keep that in consideration when I'm giving them their homework and when I'm treating them and helping them to understand how their body works, right?
Yeah, that makes total sense to me. I hope it makes total sense to everybody listening too. But so you're not into bodybuilding or anything like that?
Not at all.
No. So are you, as far as your fitness goes, how do you work with your fitness as far as keeping posture and things in line, or is it just all this movement idea?
You know what? Well, we'll come back to posture later, but in general, I just keep moving. So
what do you do to stay fit then for your fitness?
Well, it's funny, guys. I actually after opening my business, I actually stopped working out at the gym because counting sets and reps for a living kind of gets old.
Very.
So, and I wasn't training for anything specific when I was in the gym anymore. Like, I grew up as a runner. I haven't been running competitively these days. So I was like, you know what? I'm a hamster on a wheel here. I'm not training for anything specific. I don't want to be bigger. I have no need to be faster. So I just made a switch, did more outdoor recreational stuff. I go for a hike. I suck at tennis, but I played tennis the other day.
It's fun though, right?
Yeah.
I love being shitty at sports too. Yeah. It's so much fun to learn.
You can have fun with it still, right?
Yeah. Oh, I picked up boxing about a year ago.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, because I used to fight in hockey and lose all the time, but I thought, I'm an athletic guy, I can figure this out. To move all four limbs in conjunction, but also individually. I mean, I was like, okay, I feel like an absolute meathead right now. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Just flailing around like a Neanderthal, and
yeah. Well, similar to you, like I don't have anything competitive in my life anymore, and so I'm kind of not lost, but I'm so addicted to physical activity that right now and for a long time it's just been the gym.
Yeah.
And
but it's hard to motivate yourself when there's nothing to actually train for.
So
anymore.
Hard. Yeah. When it's just aesthetics, it's like, okay, cool. I know that I can just do my 3 sets and be out of here, but like, what the hell's the point?
Yeah. And I tell people that all the time when they're like, so do you think I need to go to the gym more? It's like, well, if you want, sure. But if you'd rather go for a hike or play badminton or anything else, then go do that as long as it feels good to your body.
For sure.
Because you're still moving. You're still using your strength. You're still challenging yourself and getting better and becoming more fit.
Why is it that people associate the gym with fitness is what I'm trying to figure out these days.
It's just more measurable, right? You can track it a lot more easily.
Yeah.
It's the thing that's glamorous in the media. So
yeah.
That's where people are going to go first.
Everybody wants those buns. Buns of steel, right? Oh, you remember those DVDs? The buns of steel? I think my mom had a couple of those lying around when I was a kid. Holy... That's a throwback.
You remember DVDs?
Sorry, VHS. It was a VHS, actually. It was a VHS. Even better. Oh, we had stacks of them, man.
Nice.
Oh, no, I wasn't a Betamax. I was too young for the Betamax, but I remember hearing about it. So not a physical upbringing, but now you're in physical therapies.
Yep.
What was it? You just wanted to achieve that kind of...
Yeah, after seeing other people's struggles within my family and outside of it, of having difficulty doing this, doing that, with even sometimes basic functions in life. It's like, you know what? I don't want to be like that. I want to be able to do everything I currently do as a kid when I'm still when I'm like 60, 70.
Yeah, well, that's one of my biggest fears is not being able to move as an old man.
Yeah.
It's like, God, I don't want to get old. But now here and I can be old and still move. Hell yeah. Like, let's do it.
Yeah, sure, you're old.
Yeah, no, I'm nowhere near it. But it's honestly, it's always in the back of my mind is age, because nobody's beat time.
Yeah.
Like, show me one person who's beaten Father Time.
Yeah.
Be sitting here for a while trying to drum up a name.
Totally. But yeah, that's like kind of my philosophy that I ended up taking. Like, I drifted away from it for a few years when I became more into the gym and everything like that, especially during school. But then I've revisited it in the past year or two. Just revisiting that concept of fun when it comes to physical activity, right? Because when we were kids, we played on the playground, swung from the monkey bars, ran nonstop, and had fun with it, and it was never work to us.
No.
And then at some point, being physically active became work.
Yes.
For some reason, whatever.
Yeah.
Reason. Like
it's
so
weird,
bizarre.
right?
Yeah.
This just kind of happens.
Yeah. But then, I get the people coming in to see me for this pain or that pain, and there's the ones that go to the gym. And, some people who love the gym, enjoy the gym, and all power to them. If that's what makes them feel good mentally, emotionally, physically, then awesome. And if you love it, do it. Other people who the gym is work. It's a job to them. But and then there are the other people who don't really work out a whole lot. Like, I had this wonderful, sweet lady just come and see me this morning. She kind of stopped going to the gym because it wasn't that much fun to her, but she does Tai Chi, she does yoga, she does line dancing, she goes for walks and hikes.
Go get it.
Yeah, and you are healthier and happier than almost everybody else.
Yeah. What are you doing there?
Yeah, so why would you go to the gym sometimes if you have all these other activities that are just so fun and are keeping you healthy, right?
Yeah. She felt like she needed the gym?
Yeah.
What the hell?
And she was asking me, do you think I need to go back? I'm like, do you want to go back?
Not at all. That's a big thing I find with family and friends, because they all see me and it's like, oh, you go to the gym every day. It's like, well, hey, I'm highly addicted to the gym. I don't really want to be there a lot of the time.
Yeah.
It's just that it's part of the routine that I have set up. But But I always tell people like, I love it. Like even though when I'm even on a shit day that I'm like, I don't really want to be here, it's still fun to me.
Right.
And I try to tell people like, go find your gym. You know, because they always go, well, can you give me some workouts and exercises? Yeah. No, first off, I'm not a personal trainer. Right. I'm not going to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
But I always say like, what did you do? Like, well, I used to play basketball. It's like, go get the ball. Find a friend. If not, go with yourself. Go shoot the ball for 25 minutes down at the hoops.
Yeah, and the gym still has its place for a lot of people. Like if you're in training, or if you specifically are trying to lose weight, or if you do want to look a certain way, then it is still that tool for you in order to be able to achieve your goals. But if you don't have any goals for being there, then it's almost like, okay, well, I need to find one, or else I'm not going to keep being here and being motivated to be here.
So do you? With the rehab, I know my personal experience with rehab's all been gym-based movements, right? Weights or bands or something, and it's all equipment that I can't access. I don't have access to at my home, and so I use the gym. What happens if you have someone that you need to give a specific movement that is a piece of equipment or something that's required at the gym, but they're not gym people, and they're not going to show up?
Yeah, well, you work with what they have, right?
Just adapt.
Sometimes it's like you have to say, hey, maybe just go buy a band.
Yeah.
Or instead of a dumbbell, you're going to use soup cans, books, anything like that.
Something.
Buy a ball. Like most people are willing or already own an exercise ball, so usually that's not a problem. And I can always work with what people have available. And if they go to the gym, great. You go to the gym 5 days a week. You're just going to do your rehab exercises as your warm up. Yeah. You don't even have to worry about doing them at home. But other people, it's like, okay, well, you're just gonna get up in the morning and stand up, do your reaches and do your steps. Like body, like a lot of it's just gonna be body weight too. So you don't need equipment. You can always work with what people have.
No, there's a lot of like basic. What am I trying to say? I don't want to say posture. I keep feel like I'm overusing that word. Yeah. But like the movements and stuff, as far as correcting the correction movements, a lot of that is it just changing the way you're moving the anchor points and the things along those lines?
It's a lot of times just we got to get this area stronger in order to correct whatever's happening. We got to get you used to using this joint to start to engage in the movements rather than using all the little ones, right? You're using your elbow too much when you should be using your shoulder to hammer or clean a window, right?
Yeah, well, because I blew my meniscus out. Like that's the first major knee thing I've ever dealt with, aside from minor bumps and bruises in hockey.
Yeah.
But like I had the tear where I guess a piece flipped underneath the tibula, and just grinding. So I guess because of that, something was not activating, and is it inward or outward? I'm twisted. My knee started twisting outward, and that's what's causing all my issues now. Yeah. And going to the physical rehab, he's like, you need to go do these movements to strengthen this muscle because you're not firing it off.
Yep.
That's where a lot of this stuff is.
Yep.
So is that the most common case you find then? Is it just something's getting overused and something's getting underutilized?
Usually, yeah. Something just needs to be stronger. Something needs to be used a little bit more to drive the movements. Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta tell people to take more breaks from their office chair.
So big. That was when I worked for my mom in her mortgage company. It was like I couldn't stand just sitting down for 8 hours a day. I was like, guys, can we get like 20-minute walk breaks every hour or something? Like this is just driving me nuts.
Yeah, and some people's like just literally stand up, reach up, touch your toes every half hour, and that might make.
But
I
feel like
you
people get looked at so crazily for doing that.
Yeah.
Like it's like, what are you doing? Well, I gotta stretch. Like, I'm all tight. And it's like, don't stretch, you weirdo. What are you doing? Like, get back into your little crouch and get in there.
Yeah. Well, just don't care what those people think. Right?
I think that's the biggest battle for most people is getting over the fact that like you need to do this for your body,
right?
Not your reputation.
Totally.
That's got to be a major hurdle for you.
Yeah, and the way I get around pretty much any of these kind of issues is just educate, tell them exactly why they're doing this, like what the purpose is, how it's working. There's this big string of people that come in who didn't really ever receive the information that they needed from past clinicians, right? Sometimes, like I ask people a lot, what did your last physio, chiropractor, athletic therapist, what did they tell you about what's going on? They're just like, didn't really say. They just said, hey, let's just strengthen this spot. It's like, okay, well, you didn't. So you're telling me that this person didn't actually explain what's going on to you. I'm not expecting people to go into
you don't need
in depth and open their anatomy books and everything like that to a person, but to whatever however level that they're willing and able to understand, explain it to them, and then once they have the understanding of how things work, they're so much more willing and motivated to actually put in the work to do something about it.
Right? Well, when you know what's broken and you know that this is going to fix it, at least for myself, it's huge. That was big with my knee, was getting the right, like, okay, what's happening?
Yeah.
Because I know that this is a hinge. I know that this is, I look at my body very mechanically because we are a bit of a machine.
Yep.
But it's a very unique machine in that sense.
I always say we're not quite a machine because you can't really write a handbook for us. We're more just this fleshy, squishy mass of like all these different tissues that somehow sometimes works together.
Well, it's great. I just saw a picture of the human brain, like without any ligaments or bones, and it's like
nervous system.
It scared I was like, damn, that's what controls everything.
Right?
Like, holy Christ!
All those body world models. Yeah.
Oh my God! It was like a highway system attached to a hub. I was like, and that's just floating around, and then you add in the bones, then you add in the muscles and the ligaments and the tissues. It's like,
and you're trying to write one handbook about how to fix that.
Yeah, this is the one program, guys, that's going to work for everybody.
Yeah, no.
Not a chance. No. So do you get a lot of people that come in thinking they know more than you then?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not know more than me because, if they're coming in to see me, they know that.
At least they feel more educated.
And sometimes, and some people, a lot of people do know a lot about the body, but a lot of those people come in kind of over-analyzing it or looking at that correct information in too much of a black and white manner where it's not black and white at all. It's so gray. Everything depends on countless variabilities, right? So for
sure. Well, I was just watching a video today on this girl telling people how to meal prep, and it's like, if you need to find your what is the abbreviation that your however many calories, if you just laid in bed all day, you need to find that. It's like, you can't do that on an online calculator because I could be 5'11" at 170 pounds, and someone next to me could be 5'11", 170 pounds.
Yeah.
And we have completely different needs. And so I'm sure there's a lot of people that you get or even just in general that read something online like, oh, well, that's got to be it. That's got to be it.
Yep. And
then they come in, it's
a lot of people sit down and they're like, so you're gonna probably shake your head at me, but I looked up on WebMD. It's like, okay, and we're just gonna kibosh anything you read there and start fresh.
Oh, WebMD, doesn't it always end in cancer?
Usually.
It's like, oh, I have a stubbed toe. You got cancer. You got cancer.
I'm gonna have to cut it off.
Oh, that's so interesting. So you don't have a very mechanical approach to your body then?
Well, it's mechanical, but everything depends, right?
You're very open to the possibilities of anything.
Yeah, everybody's going to be completely different. It's, the number of times somebody's come in with something that's textbook, I can probably count on just my two hands. And then I just get so stoked. I'm like, oh my God, this is textbook. I'm so excited. This is going to be so easy. I know exactly what to do.
We got step by step for you. Yeah, you fit the mold.
Yeah, most people aren't going to fit the mold. So you got to actually use your brain power for that.
Yeah. Oh, well, because I've always had this understanding. This is my theory or philosophy, I guess, is, we're all the same shell, but we've been given different engines.
Totally.
And different interiors and different everything else.
Probably not even the same shell.
No, right? Well, I just say that in a generic term.
Everyone's bones are shaped differently too, right?
Density's different, or the skin's different. I always forget the skin's an organ.
Yep.
And I'm quite reminded whenever I go get a tattoo.
Yeah.
It's like, if you don't take care of your skin, it's like you feel that
for sure.
The artwork. But I just read a really good quote. I was looking up some collagen information today. And it's your skin's health is directly related to your dietary health and things along those lines. So it's like, I always forget, you can.
It's a part of your body.
Yeah.
Gotta take care of it.
Right. Because it's a mainly aesthetic piece of our body. So we forget that it's a functioning organ.
Yeah, totally.
And then it's like, this
still
is just
does
important.
a lot of things.
Yeah, it's just as important as your liver or your kidneys or anything like that.
Yeah, take away the skin, you ain't going to be happy, are you?
Yeah, like and I just all paley red. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Oh, it's crazy. So then, what would you recommend for these guys that are super jacked up? Then, bodybuilder, or even just the old weekend warrior who continues to just do his bicep curls every single day. It comes to you and he's like, "Well, now my arms are super tight. What do I do?" Is it reprogramming the way they look about training, or is it kind of incorporating things that they can add while maintaining that same movement set?
Yes. Again, it depends. Some people it's like
all going to have case by case.
Yeah, some people you need to directly switch up the way they're training. Other people, hey, let's just add these couple things for warm up. Once in a while, very rarely, and I hate to do it, but sometimes you have to take something away. But most of the time, it's like
you're more about
just
making
don't
it
do
work.
This one exercise. Yeah,
you're all about making it work.
Make everything work. Let them. You have to let people continue to do what they want to do, regardless of whether you think it's the greatest thing to be doing to their bodies or not, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people love me because I work a lot with bodybuilders and other fitness competitors, and they're like, "You really understand us? You're not judging us based on our sport." Like I go to a doctor and they're like, "You shouldn't be doing that to your body." Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And it's just they're facing all this constant judgment. It's like, well, you know what? At the end of the day, if you do any sport or activity at a high level, it becomes inherently bad for you.
Well, it's a repetitive motion, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Any Olympic athlete, they are not in a healthy state when they're in competition mode.
I wouldn't expect it to be, right?
Yeah, and so we can't have this double standard just because of different sports and activities, right? If they're doing it, for fun at a recreational level, there's a healthy way to do it where they're not going to be doing much harm to their bodies, if any. If they're getting into that competitive high-level performance stage, there's probably going to be a lot of things that the body's not happy about when you're doing that. And if they want to continue the sport, you just have to help them manage through those issues as best as possible until they get to their end goal. And that's
so is that translatable then to like a professional working person in the same kind of mindset?
To an extent, if it's a professional working person, that's something that they're probably not going to stop doing until retirement. So you might have to modify things a bit more.
Yeah, as far as that repetitive motion, though, right? Yeah. Think about the person, the bank teller who's just sitting in front of that computer for 8 hours.
Yeah.
You have to kind of manage it the same way that bodybuilder who's going to the gym 4 days a week to go lift the thousands of pounds after all the reps.
Yeah. So here's how you're going to manage your pain. Here's the exercises or movements, stretches that you're going to do to supplement to make the body feel better in the long term. And when things flare up, don't be worried. We'll just evaluate what happened and just keep modifying as needed so that we can find you that happy place where you're going to be comfortable in your sport, your activity, your job, and not be in pain all the time.
Yeah. So is there a lot of chronic pain then you find? Well, I mean, I guess I'm not in that world quite yet.
No. And hopefully never.
Hopefully
right?
never get into that world. Yeah. But what's the most common? I'm sure lower back's a big one.
Yeah. A lot of when it comes to chronic pain, a lot of lower back, a lot of shoulder, a lot of neck.
And is that directly related to the continuation of a bad posture rather than the movement?
It's partially related to just whatever their activity might be. Chronic pain is a whole different thing, though. Ballgame, right? There's, pretty much anybody dealing with chronic pain has a big psychological background that's just potentiating and like preventing them from getting better as well.
Really?
Yeah. And there's so many factors that come along with that, and so a lot of times these people will go to their doctor or chiropractor, other clinician, and they're given the physical thing that they need to get better, but they never have that mental side addressed. And so
is that a big hurdle you find?
That's that's the hurdle.
So is the rehab for you almost starts with the mental process before the physical?
Totally. And a lot of times it just their recovery starts just by having somebody sit there for 10-15 minutes and actually listen to them nonstop with whatever they have to say. Yeah. Because a lot of people don't get that from wherever else they go.
Well, you're a number for a lot of these places, right? You're just get them through the gates. Yeah. And let's get that money through.
Yeah. And people have told me, I am so appreciative. You're the first person who's actually sat there and listened to everything that I have to say about what I'm feeling, and and you had the most thorough assessment, and I'm like, I didn't even spend that long on it. I just.
But it sounds like you actually care about the mental process, right? It's not it's not like you're just recognizing, oh, this is a problem, why you're not getting better.
Yeah.
You want to fix that before you start fixing the physical side.
Or you just fix them. You fix them at the same time, right?
Yeah, or in conjunction.
Yeah, you have to kind of. It's a gradual process of all the realms together continually as you go through.
Yeah, but it's just nice to hear that you were like, oh, hey, yeah, there's mental side to this too. Totally. This isn't just one, black and white.
Yeah, and that's a shift that healthcare is going to have to make in the next few years.
You're slowly seeing it, right?
Yeah, we are.
But it's, again, I mean, you're an outlier right now as far as physical therapists. I've never can remember one time where someone's like, hey, what's going on with your life? What's going on in your head right now?
Right.
You know, are you in a place where you can get better physically?
Right.
Yeah, and I've never had that really. I mean, just now I'm starting to recognize it, but yeah, it has to happen, right?
Totally.
It has to. That's crazy. So have you ever seen it where the physical pain came from the mental hurdle? Like there was no real change to be made. It was just mostly a mental battle?
There's always, maybe not always, there's almost always some physical trigger.
Okay.
The trigger is always there. There has to be something that causes some sort of change in the body.
There's never been like a placebo pain?
There can be, but that
doesn't really exist.
That's a little bit more complicated.
I'm sure that's a really in-depth thing.
Yeah, but for an example, let's say somebody wasn't super active throughout their lives. They felt fine up until, one day they just wrenched their back, and then for the next 10 years they've been in chronic pain just from that one moment. It's like, well, by this point, any tissue that got strained, pulled, damaged, anything like that, blood vessels that burst, whatever, after 10 years, that's healed.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, you can't expect that to not be gone anymore at this point, and you're still in pain. So why is that? Maybe they're just expecting themselves to be in pain all the time now. Maybe they're expecting themselves to never get better, and so there's no motivation and drive to go through the recovery process and be committed to it. Even just stuff like anxiety, depression, stuff like that on their own, just having those things weighing on you and having the hormones that those kind of conditions pump out, those themselves can physically enhance the sensation of pain. And there's so many factors that are involved there that it's like this crazy complicated model of like health now. Yeah.
So as far as what are you guys doing at your practice with the mental stuff aside from just listening? I mean, which is is a big one.
Like you understand, hey, is this person's anxiety regarding exercise causing them to not exercise? Okay, let's make them feel better and feel more confident or more comfortable with the fact that, hey, you're going to do this movement. It's not going to cause any damage. You don't have to expect pain doing this all the time, or a little bit of discomfort is okay as long as it's not excruciating and stuff like that. And then some people, I got to know my scope of practice. Sometimes I'm just going to say, hey, I think you need to speak to a counselor because this is a lot of stuff on the table. And
so you only take the mental side so far.
Oh, it's totally not my place to go too deep into it, right? I'm not trained. I'm formally I'm not trained at all for mental,
but you just you understand that it comes with the territory.
Yeah, it comes with the territory. There are going to be these hurdles. If I have the ability to coach them,
give them a push or something,
coach them through it to a point that they can overcome that hurdle, then we're gravy, right? Yeah. Other times it's like, okay, this person is dealing with severe chronic depression and they can't get out of bed, let alone do their exercises. This person needs to see somebody else.
Yeah, you ship them off. Okay. And then would you work in conjunction with that then? Or is that so much you got to deal with the mental side to a point before we can even start to look at the physical rehab?
Depends on the person. Some of them, maybe they have to go and just get that mental counseling alone for a while. So other people, maybe they can just start seeing it on the side as they're continuing to see me. Depends on their personal state and their situation. Yeah.
That's crazy. I wouldn't even have thought that like the mental aspect of life in general could play such a huge role in your physical rehabilitation. That's absolutely crazy.
Totally. Yeah. You will never find a person in chronic pain who doesn't have something mental, psychological weighing on them that's just not.
So how did you make that? How did you make that connection then? Or was that just something that was common sense to you and not
maybe
a lot
not
of people?
common sense, but if anybody's doing their, continued ed right now or looking at the up-to-date research and everything, this is the new emerging model. Maybe I'm one of the.
You seem to, as far as I'm concerned, you're a pioneer of this. Yeah.
But I can go onto the Facebook message boards for physical therapy research and everybody's talking about this biopsychosocial model of pain now. So it is becoming the new emerging and probably soon to be predominant model of pain and how to treat it. So
okay,
yeah, it's out there.
And it goes far beyond just physical rehabilitation. Totally. Then
yeah, just like anything, like diet, right? Can you expect somebody who's like, overweight, chronically obese, can you expect them to not have anything psychological going on in there that's stopping them from losing weight, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, I think most people will say, no, of course, they'll probably have to have some sort of mental counseling to get through that. And,
for sure, yeah.
But for some reason, we assume that that's not the case when it comes to pain.
Yeah. No, you wouldn't. Well, again, I think because of people's, myself included. I mean, we think we're machines. We think we're a one-trick pony that everyone's going through the same thing.
Totally.
Oh, Johnny boy did the same movement as me in the gym, and I did it, and then how come I'm in pain but he's not? Yeah. It's like, well, maybe it's more than just the physical movement. Yeah,
and everybody's different.
Yeah, a big one, which I'm slowly learning. But it's that is super refreshing to hear that this is emerging as the thing to come out, because it's such a gray thing, right? Mental health, like we were saying. How do you diagnose it? How can you know that?
Yeah, well, it's not for me to diagnose.
No, and I'm not saying you diagnose it, but I'm as a health practitioner. I mean, how can someone sit down and say? It blows me away that people can talk and listen and then say, oh, I think that this is, what's going on inside of your head, without ever being able to go in there and really truly know what's going on, right?
Sometimes it's like, I think you're dealing with a lot of depression that's making it hard for us to recover, and I'm happy to see you still, but you also need to start going to see somebody else.
Yeah. Wow. It's blowing me away here, John. You're blowing my mind a bit here.
Great.
Yeah. Holy. That's. I gotta push the mic away for a sec. That's fucking. Oh my god. Oh, that's super crazy. So then, okay. So as far as the sports go, guy gets injured on the floor. Say he gets whack. And he feels something pop, something like that, right? Then he comes. You've told him you've done the right process. He's gone through all the rehab. He looks great. But then it comes to a game, right? He can do it in practice. Comes to the game. How do you get over that mental battle? Like that confidence issue? Like I know it's not going to work now. It's been working totally fine, but now it won't work because we're in this different situation.
You just got to make them feel confident with their body again. When you're doing the physical rehab, you bring those exercises to as aggressively sport specific as needed to make them realize, I can full on sprint. So when I go in full on sprint in a game, I'm going to be okay, right? And then, sometimes you don't like to be using the crutches in the long term, but tape, wrapping, whatever, it's going to give people a little bit peace of mind, just so that they're not freezing up.
So big. Yeah. Well, because that was the biggest issue for me with my shoulders coming back was I knew that surgically I was repaired. I knew as far as my rehab went, I could move it. My motion was all there.
Yep.
But then for some reason, every time I went to go make that hit, I would almost tighten up even more, and like
pull back and want to,
And it actually I ended up dislocating the other shoulder because of it, because I twisted in a weird way to protect my damaged one.
Right.
And it ended up popping the other one out. And it wasn't until I finished playing hockey and had a stronger mind-body connection that I realized, like, oh, the more loose and accepting you are, like the more efficient your body's going to perform.
For sure. And when it comes to as an athletic therapist, we focus so much more on that exercise side of the rehab than a lot of other practitioners will. And so that gives us an opportunity to go a lot more above and beyond with their exercise recovery than people would typically get elsewhere. So whereas a lot of people will stop as soon as the pain is better. Okay, I've been doing I've been doing my glute bridges and my squats and this and that, and I'm good. And then they go back into what's something super aggressive. I go back into football right away.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas, where I want to go in my head is, okay, well, you've done your squats and your lunges and everything, and you're strong now. Now let's start doing it explosively, and you're going to start doing some sprints and some jump squats and some cleans, and then we're going to get into sport specific. And now I'm going to start doing a drill with you that's reactionary, and you have to make you respond when you don't know what's about to happen, because you need to start coaching the physical side from every angle, because you have to know they're not always going to be braced and prepared for what comes at them.
Exactly.
That's life. That's not just sport. That's life.
You're right. That's a good metaphor.
So you have to train them for that as well, not just get the nice squared up controlled strength back. You have to get the rest of it back as well.
Yeah, well, I found a lot of that. It's like with the rehab, whenever I did it, was always perfect conditions. Like we need you to do it in perfect form and in this controlled environment. Yeah. And then whenever I would get re-injured or I would, flare something up, it was because it wasn't in that perfect position.
Exactly. Nobody, like, I won't say nobody, but the majority of people who weight lift and then throw out their back, they didn't do it weightlifting.
No,
they
right?
did it bending over to tie their shoe, right?
Or pick that thing up off the ground. Yeah. It makes sense to me. Like the correlation's there.
Yep. So at some point, the rehab is going to stop looking like the gym, and it's going to start looking like life. And that's where people need to go to, is when they're recovering from something.
Is make it more
applicable.
Applicable function for sure.
Yeah. I hate the term functional.
Why is that?
It's like everybody's catch-all phrase
now. The functional fitness, functional movement.
Sometimes it's like, you know what? If this is functional, the person must be a Cirque du Soleil performer, right?
Well, some of that functional fitness is insane. Yeah, you got people like doing 40 pull-ups. It's like, that's not functional. You're functioning for sure, but
you have them doing bicep curls while standing on one leg on a Bosu ball. Is that functional? God, is that applicable?
Or the people that I hate the people that squat down. It's like, when are you ever going to be off balance like that? Squatting, you're never going to be shaking like that.
Exactly.
You're so squatting on water.
If I switch to using applicable, then that triggers something different in their mind. They're like, oh,
I can apply this.
Yeah.
Hey, you got all those little mental cues down, eh?
Yeah.
That's...
Well, you know what? A lot of it is just being able to rephrase what people have been told as well. Avoiding certain fear instilling terms, making it sound a bit more positive than somebody else, a doctor for instance, has told them before. Like, instead of saying, oh, your back is in spasm, maybe say, oh, well, your back is kind of just trying to protect the area because it's not feeling strong enough right now. And then when you say that, it creates this image in their minds that, oh, so this is something that's fixable. Yeah. Rather than I'm just super gimped.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that's a big misconception is language. I'm learning it right now. Is you just saying certain words can really set people down a different path than what you were intending to.
I've learned to euphemize a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, and it makes the biggest difference for people, like literally world of difference, just by being more selective with my language with my clients.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm sure that people who taught you and people you've learned from, they all have their own pathways of talking and going about giving their information. Yep. And then that what they've said might have the substance, but then you might have to reword it specifically to a different person.
Yep. Yeah, you can't go in talking all textbook med school to people at
all.
all.
Well, it drives me nuts whenever. Well, because I feel dumb, right? Even though it's not that you're dumb. It's just that that's the language.
You have no reason to understand what the hell I'm saying right now if I'm talking like that.
For me, it was like the other version is like the banking world when they use all like, oh, we're gonna amortize this over 30 years. It's just like, can we just talk like normal people? It's like, I get that this is the language associated with it, but like, you know that this is dumb language and I know this is dumb language. Can we just talk like normal people?
Exactly.
So, yeah, I'm sure you get people that just go like, what the what?
Yep.
The dermis?
Totally.
The what?
Yeah. And you're gonna know which clients are the ones that are gonna understand a certain level of education and knowledge, and if they're not quite up there, you bring it down to a different level that it's still, everything is still true and right, but it's as much information as they are able to absorb and need to absorb.
Yeah. without overloading, right? I'm sure that's a very tough fine line to walk. Is how much information do I give out?
Exactly. And, you can't overload them with either knowledge or exercise, right? Because otherwise you're never going to get anywhere because they're not going to do it.
No, that's just way too much. That's an unconquerable mountain to begin with, right?
Yeah, it's like going to school. You can't overload yourself. You gotta slowly absorb everything as you go.
Well, the kids these days got the Adderall now, John. They can conquer anything.
Yeah, well,
right?
if we're getting into pharmaceuticals.
Oh. Do you recommend it? Like, not recommend, but do you have supplements then for none?
No, I stay away from that completely.
Mostly just keep the motion going.
Yeah, for one thing, I could just get absolutely nailed for trying to recommend supplements or medications to anybody, so that's not my place at all. And two, you know what? If somebody isn't getting what they need just out of what I have to offer, then whatever they do need to take, somebody else has that information better than I do, right? Because I don't know all there is to know about stuff, no matter how much internet I can read.
Well, and it's such a crazy world of stuff. Like, I used to work in the supplement industry, and I'm maybe 10% well versed into that world. And then I hear these guys, and it's like everything's ever changing. I was just reading on a box today, and it was like, what is it? Tart raspberry or something. It's like, we have 500 milligrams of tart raspberry. I was like, this is not going to do fucking anything. Like, but you're promoting this like it's the end all be all in your product. I was like, so what the hell?
Yeah, the thing to realize, when it comes to drugs and even nutrition, like, do you know how much education pharmacists and dietitians have to go through before they're at all qualified to give people recommendations?
Yeah, it's
a lot.
It's absurd.
Yeah,
I can only imagine, that medical world. But
so, like, for the same reason, that's why I don't touch diet and nutrition with a single person at all either.
You're just all motion.
Yep.
I like that though. See, I like hearing that rather than saying, well, yeah, I got this and this, and I can help you with this. No, I
know my place.
I'm similar in that because. Like I said, I'm an active guy. People always come to me, oh, what should I take or what should I do? And it's like, go talk to this person. I know I just met this person. They got a ton of information. Go talk to them.
Yeah.
But where I was going with that, it was, do you find people rely on pharmaceuticals then for their pain? And how do you?
A lot of times in the chronic pain cases.
So how do you get them off of that mental barrier? Not that I'm saying they're addicted or anything like that, but I know as far as I've taken painkillers for surgeries because I've had 5 or 6 major surgeries now. And it's so easy to just say, oh, this makes me feel better. I need more of this. And not even in an addict like, oh, I want to feel the better. It's like, no, this takes my pain away.
Yeah.
And I don't know of any other cure.
Yeah, you just have to give them the alternative. And, it's not going to be on my place to say, hey, stop taking your Oxycontin for your back pain. But we're going to give you stuff to do as well as that. And talk to your doctor. Maybe as you're getting better at the exercise, you might find that you need less and less of the drug. But
so do you work in conjunction with anybody's doctors, or are you kind of a solo nomad?
I have to stay. Well, I don't have to stay solo. I'm kind of stuck staying solo because we're still in that place in society where our medical system doesn't communicate within itself very well.
Really?
Yeah.
I figured it would be all easily interchanged.
Not at all. If you're not primary care, and even when you're primary care, like even from one doctor, like actual full-on medical doctor to the next, the communication can be totally skewed.
Really?
And so and especially with how overloaded our medical system is, most other practitioners, primary, secondary, tertiary, they're not going to have time to really discuss or want to discuss one particular client and be able to work together on them. Unfortunately, it's a
we need like a Facebook. We need like a Facebook for medical records or something, right?
Yeah, and there's legal stuff that would come up there, but it's just we don't have a medical system that's communicative internally very well, and
that shocks me.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate, and hopefully that's something that we start to look at more and more as we go through the next few years. And I think people are starting to look at the problem more. Maybe not super receptive yet, but people are actually starting to recognize that it is a problem. So hopefully we'll start getting some solutions in the next few years.
Yeah, well, it just seems right to be able to say, hey, I have, I'm working with Mary Jo. Can I see what her last 3 years of medical history has been?
And if there is somebody who, like, hey, I see this other massage therapist in town and I want to come see you as well at the same time, then I can reach out and say, hey, can I can you send me any relevant information that I should know? And, individually, they'll probably, I don't see any reason why they will say, no, I don't want to give it to you. The person asked for it, like they have the right to their medical records. So, if you actually go specific and to each person individually, you're not going to have a problem. When it comes to a doctor, there might be, but
I'm sure because confidentiality
and just how overloaded their office is in terms of trying to communicate when they're already communicating as much as they can. Yeah,
I go to Feltham Medical Clinic, and it's mostly older people.
Yeah,
and so I just can't get over. I mean, it's he's got no time for anybody. I mean, you have 10 minutes, and if you don't get your questions answered, like you got to rebook for the 3 weeks down the road.
Yeah, and you're lucky you get 10 minutes.
Yeah, I don't even get his attention. It's like, hey, do you need a prescription? No. Okay, what's wrong? Okay, I'm gonna send you to this guy.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, sweet.
And we can't blame the doctors for that. That's just the system and the lack of manpower that we developed.
Friggin' baby boomers is what it is.
Yeah.
Those goddamn people pumping out 5-6 kids 40 years ago.
Yeah.
No, but that sucks. That kind of bums me out that you can't, that they don't, it's not even like the best interest isn't at heart. It's just
this inability to always effectively communicate between clinic to clinic, right?
It's 2018 though. You feel like we're in the future. It should be able to just be right there, right?
As we start talking about the problem more and more, though, people will start recognizing that it is an issue, and then that's when people start to come up.
We'll
with
get a
Mark
Zuckerberg
solutions.
to come make something up, right?
Someone's gonna come up with some sort of cloud system that they can use. Go on Dragon's Den at some point, I'm sure, but.
Well, if anyone's listening, hey,
anybody?
There's $1 billion idea.
I want some royalties. From that one.
We need John Cain. You got to hook him up.
You're welcome, world.
Hopefully, somebody does something with that. Yeah, you can be the pilot guy to run it on
go.
There. Yeah.
Any tech guys want to talk? Just call me.
Yeah. There we go. Oh, this has been how long we've been going here for? 1 hour? Holy
1 hour already,
shit,
Awesome.
Christ. This has been awesome, man. I think I got to wrap it up. I'm sweating like a pig right now. And no, but we definitely will. We're going to have you back on for sure.
Awesome.
This is super informative. John, thank you. If anyone's got questions or want to reach out or want to, just talk to you about anything related to this, where can they reach out?
So you can look me up on Facebook, Cain Exercise Rehab. I'm on Instagram as well.
Very
Website, CainExerciseRehab.com.
Your Instagram's dope. Sorry to cut you off there. CainRehabExercise.com. But you got a good Instagram because you don't just post, the BS. You got the memes in there and some other active accounts.
I do a Friday meme.
Yeah, it's good. I enjoy it. I wish more people would be open to that shit. It just makes it more human.
I got to let my personality out too in my business.
That's what it is. Otherwise, you're just going to be a robot.
At heart.
But that's probably why people love to come back to you, right? It's like, oh yeah, he's a normal guy.
Yeah.
He's not just gonna nitpick my posture. Right? He's gonna make fun of my shoes too.
Yeah. I have like sarcastic posters up in my office and everything. So
that's awesome. Well, yeah, we're definitely gonna come through and get some content with you there. So
sounds great,
John. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
No worries.